The Atlantic was calm that morning. On the 10th of August 1940, the Killoran, a proud three-masted steel bark of Holland registry, drifted under full sail west of Madeira. Her holds were heavy with 2,400 tons of corn and 500 tons of sugar, bound from Buenos Aires toward the Canary Islands. The world was at war, but Killoran was neutral, Finnish-owned, peaceful and old-fashioned, a remnant of another age. Then a dark shape appeared on the horizon, a steamship flying no flag. Within minutes, 2 warning shells cut across the bow of the sailing ship. Captain Carl Algot Lehmann, only 28 years old, gave the order to heave to. The mysterious ship closed in. She was the German auxiliary cruiser Wieder, commanded by corvette Captain Helmut von Ruckteschall. Lehmann was summoned aboard the raider. He protested bitterly when told that his ship, neutral, unarmed and innocent, must be sunk. His protest fell on deaf ears. Explosive charges were set in her hull. The crew of 19 stood aboard Vida's deck as their ship, the last of her kind, slowly rolled over and vanished beneath the Atlantic. That was the end of Killoran, but her story stretched back 40 years to the age when sail still ruled the sea. The Killoran was born at Troon, Scotland, built by the Ailsa Shipbuilding Company and launched on the 30th of June 1900, christened by Miss Corsa of Arbroath. She was the largest sailing ship ever built by the yard, a steel bark of 1,817 tons gross, 79.7 meters long and capable of carrying over 3,000 tons of cargo. Her high rig and broad hull made her powerful, though not particularly fast. She was built for endurance, not speed. Her early owner was J. Brown of Glasgow, and her first voyage from Ardrossan to Montevideo carried coal to South America, a sign of the long hauls to come. In the first decade of the 20th century, Killoran sailed between Europe, the Pacific and the Americas, trading mostly in wheat and coal. By 1909, ownership passed to James Hardy and Company of Glasgow, and the ship entered the long-distance San Francisco grain trade, a punishing run that tested the stamina of both vessel and men. When World War I broke out in 1914, Killoran found herself crossing oceans haunted by U-boats and gunfire. In May 1916, she was midway across the Atlantic when her crew heard cannon fire and cries for help in the dark. They hauled 75 survivors from the sinking British steamer Trevian, terrified men from Arabia who had been torpedoed only hours before. The old sailing bark had become a lifeboat. Against all odds, Killoran survived the war. But peace brought a new kind of hardship, the collapse of the sailing trade. By the early 1920s, sailing ships were no longer profitable. Steamers carried the cargoes faster and cheaper, and the big windjammers lay idle in the estuaries of England. One of them was Killoran, laid up in the river Blackwater. Then came Gustav Eriksson of Mariam, the Holland shipowner and master of the last fleet of great windjammers. In 1924, he bought Killoran for £2,650 and sent her back to sea, to Australia, where wheat still waited for the patient sailors. Under Captain Carl Johan Eriksson, Killoran made her first Eriksson voyage from Grangemouth to Antofagasta with coal, then loaded nitrates for Europe. In 1926, she left Newcastle, New South Wales, for Callao, Peru, and ran into a full hurricane. Full hurricane, terrible sea breaking over the ship. The situation looks terrible, wrote the captain in his log. The wind smashed the wheel, tore sails to wrecks, and swept two helmsmen, Helge Ayers and Christian Peterson, to their deaths. Yet the bark survived, limping into Callao on the 10th of June 1926, proving again her reputation as a heavy but indestructible ship. She carried guano from Peru, wheat from Australia, coal from Wales, whatever cargo would pay. She even passed through the Panama Canal in 1927, one of the few square riggers ever to do so. Through the 1930s, captains came and went. Ragnar Lindholm, Victor Björkfeldt, Alan Falstrom, each commanding the old steel bark on her long, lonely voyages across the globe. In 1938, young Captain Algot Lemon took command. His last peacetime run began from Newcastle upon Tyne, bound for the Seychelles, then Auckland, Port Lincoln, and back to Europe with wheat. When Killoran reached Queenstown, Ireland, in November 1939, Europe was again at war. Ericsson ordered her to take coal to Argentina, then grain to Las Palmas. By the summer of 1940, the seas were more dangerous than ever, prowled by German raiders disguised as merchantmen. On the 5th of May 1940, she went grounded near Banco Chico and collided days later with a trawler named Manico. Yet she kept going. Nothing, it seemed, could stop Killoran, until that morning in August, west of Madeira. The German raiders' commander, von Ruckteschel, reportedly hesitated. The Killoran was neutral. Finland was not at war with Germany, but an officer aboard Vidar, the ship's surgeon who was filming the cruise, demanded the sinking for his propaganda film, threatening to report the commander to Berlin. Reluctantly, Ruckteschel gave the order. Charges were set. Explosions ripped through the hull. The men who had lived half their lives under her sails stood helpless as their ship sank bow first, vanishing into the deep. The end not just of a vessel, but of an era. The crew were carried to Saint-Nazaire, then imprisoned in a concentration camp, not freed until December 21, 1940. Captain Lehmann returned home to Finland, never to command a sailing ship again. The sinking of the Killoran marked one of the last acts of merchant sail in wartime. She had served through 4 decades, crossed every ocean and survived gales, wars and tragedy, only to be destroyed for the sake of a film reel. Today, footage of her final moments survives in the German wartime newsreel Die Deutsche Wochenschau number 547. A haunting glimpse of white sails collapsing under fire, the last breath of the age of wind. Killoran went down at 33 degrees 06 minutes north and 34 degrees 17 minutes west. But her story, like that of all Ericsson's windjammers, endures. The story of the last great sailing ship to fight her way through the 20th century.